a special speaker, Harika. She graduated from NIT Warangal from the Biotech department in 2020. She got admitted to Purdue University for MS in Agriculture and Biology in back in fall 2020, but she could not go because of the COVID pandemic, and so she deferred her admit to January session. So she went back in January session, and now she is here with us to interact with us and tell about our journey for master application process. So yeah, thank you very much for accepting our invitation, Harika.
You're very welcome.
Okay, so the very first thing that anyone gets into their mind is why should someone pursue a master's? So can you shed some light on it?
So for the field of biotechnology, getting a job right after you're done with your bachelor's is not very possible in India. Um, you need a specialization in order to get a job. So that's why for people in biotech, it is kind of required for you to do a master's or get a postgraduate degree. So it is a given. And yeah, there are no jobs in India for bachelor's degree. You
I
can get
understand that.
into internships, but no jobs. Yes.
Yeah. So another question, like why specifically did you choose this major? Is there any reason behind that?
This major, um, um, so when I was in 10th grade, I had a really nice biology teacher, and but I wanted to do engineering. So it was back then that I decided that I will do something that had to do with biology as well, and biotechnology was the answer to it. Also, there was a senior of mine who was already interested in doing it, so I thought, why not pursue it?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so like looking for someone who wants to start this preparation and who want to get through this process. So what do you recommend? When should someone start and looking for it?
Um, so first, you should start with building a profile because your college application needs to have uh, some amount of experience that you have already had in that particular field, even in a broad sense. So start with building a profile that you can start in, I think, second year. I guess in start working with the PhD students in your university. Start working with maybe a professor that you're okay with or a subject that you're into. Um, do internships, apply for them. Uh, so start building your profiles in second year, from second year. Uh, College applications, I think you can start working on them from third year. So that starts with getting a good GRE score, um, having a rough list of the universities and the course that you want to do, because there are a lot of universities and a lot of different types of majors that you can pick. So third year would be a good time to start working on that.
Yeah, that's great. So since you mentioned university selection is a very rigid and stringent process, so what were the strategies to select, yeah, this university would be good for me and this won't be that much good for me? So what strategy did you follow for that?
Mm, I had roughly four pointers to pick the university. One was the overall university ranking. Where does it fall? Ranking is, and the name is obviously important. Second was within that university, where does your branch fall? So you will have a branch wise ranking and a university wise ranking. So check both of them. Third one would be by far the most important actually is finding a lab that you like. So find a lab, figure out about the professor, see if it is functioning, see the last paper that they have released. Um, if possible, talk to the postdoc, PhD, master students who are already working there. If you're really serious about that lab. So check the lab, check the professor, check his profile, check his or her profile. Um, that would be the third thing. Fourth thing that I took into consideration was the location of the university and how far is it from the industry hub. So if you want to work after your masters, you need to be in a place where the companies come to you and you know take you in for placements. So if you're too far away from the industry hubs, there is a slight chance that you will miss out on some opportunities. So that was one other thing that I looked into. Um, Apart from that, the main reason was the professor and their work and their research.
That's good. So, like, since you were mentioning about professor and all those aspects right now, so I was just curious, like, what exactly the procedure consists of, and maybe what are the required documents for that, and did you have some kind of interview before getting admitted to Purdue?
The application process is um, pretty straightforward actually. So every application process will you basically log into their database and they'll ask you a bunch of questions. You got to fill them up. There'll be usual questions about your background, your scores, um, and they'll ask you some documents. So main documents I remember being your resume, your SOP, usually 2 to 3 LORs, and then you have your transcripts, your GRE, and TOEFL scorecard. I think these are the main documents that you should keep with you at all times, because TOEFL GRE scorecards, they'll ask you to put in the scores anyway, and if required, you can add the scorecard to the additional documents. SOP, statement of purpose, LOR, letter of recommendations. These are the main, the crux of your application procedure. And then you have your transcripts, which is the unofficial, official transcripts. You have to make sure what is being asked. Read the application thoroughly. That is one thing. Everything lies in whatever that huge questionnaire that they have set out for you. Everything is there. If you have any publications or abstracts that you have mentioned in your CV, in your resume, um, make sure to add that document as well later on when they say if you have any additional documents to attach. Add that document as well to your application process. That is mostly it. That is what I remember the most. SOP is hard. LORs are a little hard. Apart from that, it's just filling out those forms. Some forms are more specific. If I remember right, University of California, they were um, very into the diversity part of the kind of students who are applying. So they would ask you a lot of questions about where you're from, your income status, and your ethnicity, everything. And they also expect a diversity essay. So make sure you read through the application process clearly and see what is being expected from you.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So yeah, did you have some kind of interview while for the selection process, or was it a direct admit
Oh,
letter?
no, no, no. I did not have an interview. Oh, so it was not a formal interview process. There was, uh, I did speak with the professor, but there was not a formal interview process. For most master students, there is no formal interview process. PhD students, I believe, some universities they have an interview process, but mine was more of an informal interview process because I had mentioned the professor's name in the SOP.
Yeah, I got it. So how long is your program, and what do you think are the approximate cost would be for your program?
My program is for 2 years. It started in Jan 21, ends in December 22. The approximate cost that was kind of quoted by the university is $15,000 per semester. And I was basically, I summed up around $65,000 for um, the entire education, like for
Yeah.
2 years.
Mhm. So one more thing, as you were mentioning about your essays, SOPs, and they are the major crux of your application. So do you mind sharing what are the strategies that you followed, or some tips here and there, so that other people watching this can be benefited?
Regarding the SOPs, I remember it being very hard. Be true to yourself. Do not make it too generalized. Also, SOP again, some universities want they have a word count, so make sure you follow the word count and mention your work, talk about your work, talk about where you come from, as in why do you really want to do it, uh, and be succinct. Do not uh, go into stories, and make sure that you have at least some friends of yours at least read it before you decide that this is it. So have people read it, make someone who's really good at English read it, and uh, edit and re-edit, and start months before you begin your application process. Because it's going to take time. You will have to basically sum up your entire academic work life into those few words slash pages. So be succinct, and you have to make a point there.
Yeah,
That is all I can remember.
yeah. That's pretty much sums it cool. And yeah, this is one question that I've been receiving from a lot of people that some universities ask for either TOEFL or IELTS, and some universities may ask for either one of them. So, what do you think? Which one should I give? And what did you give, and why did you give that test?
I gave TOEFL because so when I shortlisted my universities, all of them were in the US, and in the US everyone accepts TOEFL. So I
Okay.
gave TOEFL, and if you are applying for universities you in Europe, maybe you should give IELTS, but it totally depends on where your university lies. Also, again, they mention it if they need TOEFL or IELTS. There
Yeah.
is no big difference between the two of them.
Okay. Cool, cool. So since you are mentioning that you'll be approximately paying around $15,000 per semester for your study at Purdue, so what are you thinking to finance your education? Like, do you have some set, like, do you have some plan for that, or you are going for some loans or something?
I have applied for a non-collateral loan from ICICI Bank. So I
Okay.
have the loan on standby, but you can always apply for assistantship positions. So when you are speaking with your professor, go ahead and ask them if they have any funding opportunities available for you. And if they're usually very nice, so they'll look around and they'll let you know if there are any options, or they will be straightforward and tell you that there are no funding options. So whatever it is, you can always try and ask them. That is one thing. But yeah, I have a loan. I'm on a I have a loan from ICICI Bank.
Yeah. Okay. So since a lot of banks are there which are providing loans, and what should be someone's criteria to select, yeah, this loan would be perfect more for me, or maybe some non-collateral, collateral, like that kind of restrictions?
I don't think you can generalize that, but most of the people I know were going for non-collateral loans, and they were going for non-collateral loans from HDFC Bank. That is one popular. HDFC
Mhm.
Credila is one popular choice. I went for ICICI Bank uh, because of uh, we were already on talks. One thing
Okay.
is that when you speak to multiple banks, you can always bargain the interest rate. I was not aware of this. I I came to know of it through my process, that you can always bargain the interest rate and the agent is willing to reduce. So try to make use of that in case you weren't aware.
Yeah, that's nice. Uh,
Otherwise,
yeah.
everything is
So
the same.
yeah,
You must be aware of that.
yeah. So there is like people usually doubt themselves that why should they go for some international programs and what are the some of the basic job opportunities that they can avail right after the master's program. So like this is one major query that someone may be thinking about their in their academic pursuits or career pursuits. So can you shed some light on it, and why do you think an international program like Purdue University MS is going to be helpful in the future run?
So for I am speaking from personal experience. For biotech, as I said, it's very important to do a postgraduate degree. So once I have this degree, my expectation of a job is first of all is going to be there, and I will have a research assistant or um, like so there are several levels in a pharmaceutical lab for a research assistant even. So I'll have like a research assistant, say 3 or 4. There will be a possibility for a job to even begin with. Apart from that, once that you have worked here in a proper lab, you will have the option to do a PhD, which is again something a lot of people want to do. So that is also something that you gain from here. Now, will an international program help you? Will domestic programs not help you? I would not say that. International program, why? Because there are some subjects that are more researched on and worked on in other countries compared to our country.
Yeah,
So yeah, that is the reason why we move out. Also, opportunity for biotech in the US is a lot more than the opportunity for biotech in India. So that is one other reason why you might prefer to move out of the country to follow your interest.
yeah, that pretty much sums it all. So, since you have been giving a lot of suggestions from like right from the beginning, so do you have any final suggestions that you want to give to your juniors or future aspirants who would be pursuing this field, or who may be into this biotech or maybe some other field in general?
Uh, I uh, I don't know, just do whatever you would want to do. Do not second guess yourself. And everyone goes through it. So that is one thing. Go talk to your peers. Do not be weirdly competitive about this process. Talk to people because they also go through the same thing. Maybe when you talk, because when you talk to them, more things clear up. There'll be a lot of new terminology that you will come across that these universities use, especially when you're trying to look for courses. So you'll be very, lost in those terminologies because we don't use it in India, they use it here. Different countries, different terms. So talk to your peers and make it a collaborative, helpful group and work for the goal instead of just being weirdly competitive about it.
Yeah, yeah, that pretty much sums it all, and that was a very nice suggestion that work on a collaborative approach rather than being very competitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sums it all. Like all the questions were answered, and I hope that everyone who is watching this recording can get some insights on what the application process is and how and when they can start and what should they look for. Yeah, thank you very much, Harika, once again for being into this, and it was a really pleasure to talk to you.
Very welcome. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.